If this was your last year of single, what would you do? If you knew in 12 months that you would never be single again, how would you spend your time? We're going to make a list of all the things that we would do if this was our last year of true freedom, and we're going to do everything on that list. And, we need to make the day-to-day of single living easier. It all feels way harder than it needs to. So I'm going to ask experts to help us with the hardest bits of being single. So friendship, money, sex, burnout, fear. We're the first generation in history who can choose to be single. We don't have to settle. And there is no one to teach us how to live like this. And the old rules are out, and no one has made up new rules yet. So this is our time to strike. Welcome to the last year of single. Hello, how you doing? I'm coming to you live from a hostel bed in Mumbai, India. I lost my job and now I've ended up traveling India by myself for who knows how long. All because I was sick of being single and I was like, enough's enough. I can't do this anymore. Something has to change. So all this crazy shit happened that meant now I'm in India. I'm from Melbourne in Australia. And I feel like I was just doing everything I was supposed to do as a single person. We're supposed to learn how to love ourselves and enjoy our own company. We're supposed to go to therapy and journal and work out and have good friendships and have a cool job. And I don't know, I'm not perfect, but I'm really having a red hot go at doing everything single people are supposed to do. Well, successful single people, acceptable single people. I feel like I'm in AA right now, but hello, my name is Bree Steele, and I've been single for 7 years. And I know that sounds really depressing, and if you're judging me, I feel like that's fine. Because if I heard a woman my age had been single for that long, I'd be like, oh my God, poor thing, what's wrong with her? I haven't lived like a nun. I've had moments, connections, dalliances, situationships. I've had a hoe phase. But in terms of actually calling someone my boyfriend, I haven't done that in 7 years. And it's not for lack of trying. I've been working on myself. I've been going on dates. I've been on the apps. I go to speed dating events. I meet people in real life. And I even did a live dating show on stage in front of hundreds of people. More on that later. But yeah, I haven't let being single stop me from doing what I want to do. I've traveled alone, I live alone. I do heaps of things that we're supposed to do to be happy and single. And I won't lie to you, I am not having fun anymore. I am sick of being single. I am so over it. Because I swear, I just woke up one day and every single person I knew was in a relationship. You get to, over the age of 27 or 28, and then suddenly you're like, oh, everyone's in a relationship and it's not like it used to be. No one prepares you for this. Once you get to a certain age, people's romantic relationships are the number one most important relationship in their life, and they're building lives together. They're saving for babies and houses and weddings, and so they're just not as available anymore. And we're single, so where does that leave us? It makes me feel really lonely. So I was doing everything I was supposed to do, living, laughing, loving, single, or at least trying to. And then I met this guy. We met at work on a night shift. We met in the work kitchen, and he's so nice and funny. He looks like he's in a band, and then he builds stuff with his hands. He's very my type. I'm a presenter, he's an audio engineer, and then for a year we were flirting, running into each other on purpose. You know how it is. We'd go for coffees, and he would get so close to asking me out. He would suggest we should do things together, but never actually create a concrete time or officially ask. And I was like, oh my God, what is going on? And all my male friends were like, Bree, you work at the same place. He's probably not going to ask you out so that he doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, so you're going to have to ask him out. I was like, fair enough. Okay, I'll ask him out. So I did. He said yes. And we went on our first date, and this is how it ended. I'm so alone.
I found it really hard to put myself out there, and it just really hurts.
For 8 hours, we did not stop talking. It was so much fun. We were talking, and then all of a sudden it's 3 a.m. and the bar calls last orders, and we were both starving, like we hadn't eaten dinner. And I was like, well, do you want to come back to my place for toast? And he looks at me and he goes,
it's pretty problematic to go home with someone you work with.
I swear to God, my heart fell out of my butt. Like, did he not think this was a date? Like, I was mortified, and it must have shown on my face because he was like,
oh my God, let me explain.
And I was like, no, it's okay. And he's like,
no, please, please, please.
And I was like, fine. So then we ended up standing on the side of the road in the freezing cold while he trauma dumped on me. And I finally went home and I was just sobbing in the Uber on the way home. I was so upset and everyone was asleep. And so I remember in my drunken mind that Adele said that when she was going through her divorce, she would record a voice memo and, talk about her feelings. So that's what I did.
I'm literally sitting on my kitchen floor and I'm so just heartbroken because basically, like, he was like, I really like you and I think you're so beautiful. But he's in a really bad place and he's just not emotionally available. I feel so lonely. I know that I can be independent and I can do things alone and I just know I can do it, but I don't want to do it anymore. When you do all the work, I do the work, I do the therapy, I do the journaling. Even if you do exactly what you've been told, you don't always get what you want. Stupid Rolling Stones.
That was the night that broke my heart's back. You just heard me losing my final straw. I think, and I know this sounds delulu, but I truly thought that I would end up in a relationship with that guy because everyone else I know is in a relationship. And some of the most chaotic, unstable people I know are in relationships. And I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do to be a happy single person, an attractive partner. So I think I must have thought, well, I guess it's my turn to be in a relationship now. And so when he rejected me, it devastated me. Because I think on some level I was like, yay, finally I'm going to be a part of the relationship crew. I'm no longer going to have to be single and do everything alone. Yes. The next little while, I kind of worked myself up into such a tizzy about being single. Like, I was like, why am I still single? Like, there's no reason for it. And I was looking everywhere for answers. And one night, maybe after a few wines, I emailed Graham Norton, the TV show host. He has a radio show and they have an advice column, where like people email in and they give advice. So I did that and I forgot about it. And then a few months later, I was sitting in my backyard listening to the Catch Up podcast. And then I heard it and I was like, oh my God, that's me.
Graham's Guide. Dear Graham and Maria, I have been single since 2017. I like my own company and I never let being single stop me from doing what I want to do. And I put myself out there. I gave my number to a guy I met at a dinner party last week and I have brilliant friends and family. I'm simply fatigued, in a rut and at a loss for what to do. I don't want to miss out on events, but at the same time, I'm not sure how many more times I can go to a wedding, birthday or event alone before I completely crumple into a heap. What should I do? And that is from Bree in Melbourne.
I think the great thing about Bree is Bree's written this letter. You've vented. Now you've written this letter. Never say these things aloud again. There's nothing less attractive than this energy. Because, what you're describing, who wants to be part of that?
Yeah.
You need to make you seem like a good thing to hitch your wagon to. I mean, I know it's so kind of cliche to say count your blessings, but seriously, look at your life. It's not that bad. There's one bit that you think is missing, but actually there should be nothing missing, and that partner should be an add-on. How many of your friends, Bree, do you think, oh, I wish I was in that relationship? I always think that's the thing. There's a few, you know, with your friends, there's always a few where you kind of think, oh, that seems really happy and they seem really nice. Most friends, you kind of think, ooh, I wouldn't like that. Thank you very much. And the bottom line is, Bree, enjoy the life you are living.
Oh, God. Lola Graham telling me to never talk about this out loud again. Oops. But really, two things stuck out to me in that advice. One of them was, you know, enjoy the life you are living. Like, I'm trying and I don't know how to do that. And secondly, when he said, you know, how many people do you know in relationships and how many of those relationships would you actually want to be in? Like, off the top of my head, maybe I can think of 4, and that's just not high enough. And then all of this together, I had this moment where I was like, what are we doing? Why are we wasting our time being obsessed with getting into relationships, putting up with really bad behavior that makes us feel crap just to be in a relationship when most people in relationships aren't even happy? Like, I spent a year pining after that guy from work. A year. What did I do in that year? I didn't have that much fun, really. I've spent most of it running around trying to be in a relationship or feeling sad about not being in one. And I feel like that's really sad. And like I said, we're doing everything we've been told to do to be happy and successful as single people, and it's not working. So I think it's time we do something big. If this was your last year of being single, what would you do? If you knew that in 12 months you would never be single again, how would you spend your time? I want to do 2 things. 1, I want to write a list of all the things that we would do if this was our last year of being single, and we're going to do them. And I don't want to be like, fuck as many people as possible. Although we can do that. I want it to be more about like things that we've always wanted to do or have said that we're going to do, but we just never make a priority. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's never been a better time to be single. We're the first generation of people who can be single, who have options and opportunities. And obviously, you know, we all come from different cultures, we have different financial situations and different bodies, and all this contributes. But I think, generally speaking, there's never been a better time to be single for everyone in the world. And I think the reason why so many of us aren't happy single, or we're afraid of being single, is because it's an unknown. We don't know what it looks like or feels like to be a happy, fulfilled, successful, respected member of society as a single person. Like, if you Google how to be happy in a relationship, there's millions of like useful articles. But if you Google how to be happy single, all of the advice is like,
enjoy the life you are living. Date yourself.
We're doing that already. So the second thing that I want to do is I want to try and figure out how we can make the day-to-day of single living easier. And I don't know about you, but I just feel like being single is treated like a waiting room that no one wants to be in. But we have everything that our ancestors fought for, and we're not taking advantage of it because we don't know how to. No one has shown us how to be happy and single, so let's do it ourselves. I'm going to interview different experts who can help us figure out how to make single living easier. So, 1, why are we so afraid of being single? I'm going to ask a love researcher from Oxford University.
It's better not to be in a relationship at all than be in an unhappy relationship.
I feel lonely a lot, and I want to figure out how we can have better friends and make new friends. So I'm going to talk to the New York Times' friendship expert.
Society doesn't set us up to have successful friendships.
Money is a thing. Being single feels really expensive. So we've got a financial planner on.
Can we have it all? Well, I think you need to first define in your own life what is it all.
And I really need to know how we can have a fulfilling sex life without having to sleep with losers. So I'm going to see what a sexologist has to say.
When you're single, do a full body guided masturbation.
So yes, welcome to your last year of single. This year isn't about, making your life perfect so that you find a partner at the end. Although if that happens, I love that for you, but it's not about that. This is about reminding ourselves that being single isn't a waiting room. It's a legitimate way to live life. I'm really excited. I'm really nervous. I had this idea about the last year of single. I started making plans, and at the top of my list was spending like 3 months in India. I was like, okay, so I wrote it down. I made a budget. I planned to quit my job in October. I had to save this amount of money. And then probably 2 weeks later, I get made redundant. I lose my job. And the exact amount of money I had budgeted to go to India was the exact amount of money I got in my redundancy payout. And so I thought, well, I guess I'm going to India. So now I'm here, living my last year of single. And I thought, I think this would be so much more fun to do with you. So let's do it. Make sure you send this to someone who you think needs to hear it. And also, if you have any questions or ideas or things that you really hate about being single, let me know. All the details of how to contact me are in the show notes. Let's do it. Okay, I will see you next time when we figure out how to stop being so afraid of being single. Okay, I love you. Bye.